Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Ryan Kelly, and today I want to talk about some Courage the Cowardly Dog. Now, I've been wanting to talk about this show for quite some time, but I haven't because I already made 2 different top 10s on the matter, and I felt like I didn't want to make a 3rd video because, well, I really couldn't come up with one. But then I realized something. I only talked about the creepiest episodes from Courage the Cowardly Dog. I didn't even talk about one of the most important elements from the show, the villains. Now, I want to talk about 3 villains that really stood out to me.
Alone was I with tender courage, and all his fur, his furry footage, which I say did encourage me to be quite naughty.
Freaky Fred is probably the most well-known villain that I'm going to be talking about today, and the most downright creepy one at that. When you think of Freaky Fred, you really don't think of him as a threatening villain. You think of him as a mentally ill person who is messed up in the head. And that's why he's not like any of the other villains that I'm going to be talking about. Throughout the whole episode, the viewer feels this uneasy feeling when watching him and listening to his narration throughout the episode. The thing that Freaky Fred is the most well known for is his saying,
D-O-G is what he spelled, and that's how I spell naughty.
When the viewer first hears this, it makes he or she believe that he is evil, but once the viewer gets some context of what being naughty means for him, then he or she learns that he is not evil, which makes him such a clever villain. Just because he believes he's doing good does not mean that he's a good guy. He is still seen as a villain to Courage, however, because he's trying to get rid of Courage's fur, which obviously Courage doesn't want him to shave all his fur off. The next thing I want to talk about is what makes Freaky Fred so unnerving to watch. Obviously his appearance and his voice are one of the main factors to why Freaky Fred makes the viewer so uncomfortable when watching him. In fact, the first scene that Freaky Fred is in only shows his silhouette, his eyes, and a huge, uncomfortable grin. The viewer knows right off the bat that this guy is the villain of the episode. The second thing is the fact that he keeps referring to himself as naughty. This is a sign for the viewer to realize that there is something off about this character. He or she starts to think about what is considered naughty to him, and why does he feel like he needs to keep saying that he was naughty. This is a great element of horror because now you have all these questions about who this character is and what his motives are. The final thing that I want to talk about that makes Freaky Fred so unique from other villains is the way that the episode presents him and the type of music that's associated with him. The show doesn't ever do narration episodes, so when Freaky Fred starts narrating, it throws viewers off because, well, this is not what they're used to. Apparently, the reason why he is narrating the whole episode is because the creator of the show always wanted to make a Dr. Seuss themed episode with rhyming and whatnot. So the music choice is perfect for setting the mood. The best example of this is the scene where Freaky Fred starts to shave Courage, and the only music the viewer can hear is children singing in harmony. This is literally horror movie material. That scene alone makes Freaky Fred one of the show's greatest villains. This type of villain works really well for the show because usually the villains in the show have an elaborate plan that involved the Bags family in some way. But this episode decides to go with a simple premise that was made into something creepy because of how well the villain was designed. Freaky Fred definitely deserves the name Freaky Fred.
With love, Fred.
What's your offer?
Return the slab.
Everyone who saw this episode remembers how terrifying King Ramses was when he or she first saw him. This villain is one who is scary to watch because of his appearance and because of his actions. The first thing I want to talk about is the first scene in the episode. King Ramses is introduced in one of the most chilling ways. The scene starts with 2 robbers driving away from the cops because they stole the slab from King Ramses' tomb. The robbers pull over and bury the slab. After that, King Ramses confronts them and asks them for the slab back. When they say no, they get killed in one of the most horrifying ways. The first scene tells you a lot about King Ramses. He kills 2 people right off the bat, which that did not happen a lot in kids' cartoon shows back then. The scene is genius because it shows King Ramses' powers and it shows how far he is willing to go to get his slab back. The next thing I want to talk about is his appearance. King Ramses is unique from the other villains in the show because he was CGI. When a viewer looked at King Ramses, he or she is uneasy from watching his unnatural movements and how he stands out from the rest of the art style. The interesting thing about King Ramses compared to Freaky Fred is that the only reason why he's there is because Eustace stole King Ramses' slab and won't give it back to him. Freaky Fred was a villain because he shaved Courage's hair when he didn't want it to be shaved. But King Ramses is a villain not because of what he wants, but because of the way he deals with trying to get back what he wants. King Ramses is a surreal villain because of what he does in this episode. The things that he does in this episode are impossible for someone to do in real life. Speaking of that, King Ramses has 3 different curses that he uses on the Bags family. The curses are flooding the house, loud music, and the locusts. This makes King Ramses different from most of the villains on the show because he has these real powers that can actually kill the Bags families in some really horrifying ways. Other villains have tried to kill Courage and his family in the past, but none of them tried to kill them in the inhumane ways that King Ramses did. He tried to drown them, make their ears bleed, and he tried to get them eaten alive by locusts. That is a little bit of an extreme punishment for someone who won't give you your slab back.
I told you to forget her. I take you from a 2-bit joint and make you a class act. And you want to make me second rate? If I even smell Kitty, I'll bury the 2 of you.
Mad Dog is the most shocking villain on the show in my opinion and in many others' opinions. The episode as a whole is pretty controversial. I'm surprised that the show is able to get away with some of the things that happened in this episode. For those people who don't know what I'm talking about or haven't seen the episode, let me tell you exactly what's going on and who Mad Dog is. The episode has Mad Dog, a pimp and crime lord, steal Bunny away from her best friend Kitty and makes her into a prostitute. I don't know why, but when I read that, I was just really happy. Not because of what's happening, but the fact that a kid's cartoon show got away with that. That's awesome in my opinion. Anyway, Mad Dog also threatens to kill Bunny and Kitty if they see each other again. This causes Kitty to hate all dogs and to think that they are all evil. This is some really deep topics for a kid's show. Anyway, now that you know about the episode, let me talk about Mad Dog. This villain is the one that stands out to me the most because he is one of the villains that was so real compared to the other villains on the show. Freaky Fred is a great villain, but it's very likely that people actually have to deal with a Freaky Fred in his or her life. King Ramses is a genuinely evil villain, but a villain with that much power cannot exist in our world. Mad Dog, however, is a common villain that can be in someone's life right now and could be causing harm to him or her. Now, what makes Mad Dog such a good villain is the fact that his motive is so simple, but yet threatening. You can relate this to Freaky Fred, except for when I say his motive is threatening, it's a lot more threatening compared to Freaky Fred's. Freaky Fred just wants to give a haircut, and it doesn't hurt Courage at all. But Mad Dog is willing to kill Kitty and Bunny in order to have it his way, which yeah, that is causing harm to someone. Freaky Fred isn't really causing harm, he might be causing emotional harm, but he's not causing physical harm like Mad Dog. Heck, Mad Dog's hurting Kitty and Bunny mentally because now they hate all dogs. That is what makes Mad Dog evil compared to the other villains that I've talked about. I know that these are just cartoon villains, and I'm thinking way too much about this, but I'm doing this to show you guys that the creators of the show actually really cared about the villains they made. Because some of these villains are great, like Freaky Fred, King Ramses, and Mad Dog are some of my favorite villains from the show, and make me remember the show. Also, everyone has that one villain that really scared them as a kid. The villain from that show that scared me was obviously Violin Girl. Obviously, Violin Girl doesn't scare me anymore because, well, I'm an adult now. Anyway, you guys should let me know in the comments below what villain scared you the most as a kid. Also, speaking of the comments, you should tell me what I did wrong and what I did right about this video. You can also request for a video that you would like to see on this channel. Also, if you really like this video, you can give it a thumbs up and show your support. And you can also subscribe to be updated on whenever I make a new video. Thank you guys for watching. My name's Ryan Kelly, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace. So you made it through the whole video. Congratulations. Now you're presented with 2 new videos. Which one do you want to watch? The one on the left or the one on the right? The one on the left is really bad. Like, I made it back in 2012, and it is really cringeworthy. Like, if you want to, I mean, if you're really down to do it, you can make a drinking game by how many times I say creepy. I'm giving you a warning right now, you could be dead. Another option is my update of that top 10, where it's actually scripted, and I actually don't sound like a prepubescent boy, and it's actually somewhat tolerable to watch. That's an option. So I hope you guys will enjoy these top 10s if you want to watch them. Alright, I am saying for the top 10, the creepy one, I'm not responsible if you do a drinking game to it and you die. That is not my fault. Alright, I'm just saying, I was just giving you like a option as a joke because I got a YouTube comment about it, and it's one of my favorite YouTube comments I've ever gotten. So yeah, there's that. So I hope you guys be careful with that if you do it, obviously. And the other video is polished. I like it. I mean, I didn't really have a problem with it. There were some moments in it where it was pretty cringy, but hey, everyone's gotta learn somehow. Wow, you guys are still here? Alright, well, that's interesting. I don't really know what to talk about. I pretty much said everything I wanted to say. So, how was your day today? My day's been pretty good so far. Actually finished this video. I haven't finished a video since February, man. That's too long. But don't worry. I'm making more videos again. I'm on top of it. Fixed sound, fixed camera, fixed everything. Everything's going to work just fine now. So you don't need to worry anymore, okay? Alright, this is too long. You need to go. You just need to click one of the videos or just go. Alright, I'm sick of it. My back hurts. You have no idea what kind of position I'm in right now. Don't take that sexually, please. I'm actually under my desk right now. There's a bunch of pillows and my mic, so it sounds extra crisp. And my desk is not tall enough for me to just sit under, so I have to crouch under it. And it is causing some serious scoliosis. So if you could just click a video so I don't have to sit like this anymore, that would be appreciated. Still not going to click a video. Alright, well, I'm just going to end the video. Alright. Thanks.